Hi everyone! Here's my new large project on my channel. It's Quadra V-Tech from the game Cyberpunk 2077. I liked its appearance and I wanted to construct something serious from the whole start long ago. I think it will be an incredibly difficult project as practically everything will be made in an ordinary workshop, and I'll make a lot of things for the first time. It makes the project more difficult and interesting. There will be a lot of work with a wide body from the fiberglass, frame hopefully from the seamless tubes, a rear suspension including installation of double wheels of the huge size. Also, there will be interesting doors which are opened as in the minibus. In total, there will be really hot, and I hope you'll support my initiative with the likes. I decided to come to my project seriously, and first of all, last year I found a way out with the documents, and if the laws won't change to the end of the project, it will be able to ride across the downtown. I began working on project with a body. For this purpose, last year I began to assemble a NC machine for production of the body blank using this car's three-dimensional model. You can find video about the machine assembly on my second channel. I also wrote to developers of this game with the request to provide me an original 3D model, but they rejected me, referring to the content confidentiality till the game's exit. It's wonderful that there were some enthusiasts who have made this model according to screenshots and laid it out for free in the net, so I used it for my project. The reference will be in the description. To make the blank one-to-one, I had to learn several programs. In the first program, I cut the model on layers 100 mm thick, which is equal to the foam sheet. In the second one, I converted these pieces in the steering program which the NC machine understands. A scaled model will be cut out from the dense polyfoam. During the project, I used about 4 cubes. So I fixed the sheets with the ordinary screws. The main thing in this case is not to get on the cutter trajectory, otherwise the cutter can break and it's not cheap. For the NC machine, I used a separate computer with a program for machine steering. We load a file with G-code into it. It is a set of coordinates in the text document, and press to start the steering program. It is impossible to stay in the room without earphones and a respirator. At first, the NC machine makes the roughing work, removing 50 mm of material in the right places. It is necessary, for the cutter cannot deepen in the material while the final machining, as the cutting rim of it is only 70 mm and it cannot treat 100 mm of the foam at once. This operation goes pretty quickly, as the cutting goes according to all diameter of the cutter. After roughing work goes the final machining. In this mode, the cutter removes the layers on 1.5 mm and deepens in the material at only 15 to 20% of its diameter. In view of that, it is the longest procedure. And the final stage of the detailed treatment there will be its cropping along the perimeter. So, the construction of only one detail requires 3 operations and 3 to 4 hours of time, and in the project there will be 47 pieces. I decided to make a couple more of details to look how it will be joined among them. For this detail, there is not enough standard width of the sheet, and I pasted 20 more centimeters to it with special glue from foam plastic. This detail is bigger than previous one, and it also has edges which are cut very long. The whole time of this detail treatment was about 5 hours, and the longest detail in this project is a part of the door, which was cutting for about 6 hours. I cleaned the detail from shavings and attached a part of the fender, as I thought everything was joined perfectly. I cut some details specifically to save the foam plastic, which is not visible and does not bear any loading on itself. Such a fender we got from 3 parts and 1.5 days of the machine work. The back arch turned out huge. For comparison, I took the biggest wheel I had. The 17th-inch wheel inside the arch looks ridiculously and out of place. I'll make the wheels for this project from stampings by myself, and for this purpose, I'll need suitable discs on 20 to 22 inches. As it turned out, there are no such sizes for automobile cars, only in segment of special and agricultural machinery. Thus, I had to take stampings from the tractor and make custom discs for the project. I cut the first kit of parts on the NC machine for the back part. I'll assemble it previously on a wooden framework, as there is a chance that the puzzle won't gather and the model will be curved. I assembled a frame from the wooden bars according to the sizes, which will further act as a support for the cut details. This assembly somehow reminds the ordinary construction set. I decided not to stick details among themselves at once. Later, I'd have to dismantle the model and move into the larger the room. My workshop is obviously not enough for it. I twisted elements with long screws as polyfoam density allows it. I divided the entire model into 3 parts: the back, the front, and the middle. One of the 3 parts turned out perfectly. Everything fitted and looked very cool. Now we need to cut other details for this project. In a week, I had some problems. Accuracy was gone and the spindle began to move away from its trajectory. It turned out that a driving belt of axis X did not sustain. Its metal cord all cracked and it began to stretch. I went for a new one and the machine began to work as earlier. I finished cutting the remaining details and began the assembly. But before it, I pulled out the machine out of workshop limits in order to have place to assemble the model. I made another wooden framework and assembled cabin details on it. And then I assembled the hood and fastened side elements. I fixed the front bumper and at last assembled the entire model. The model lacks some side details of fenders and rear lockers, which I'll make later. The car's length is 472 centimeters and its width at the expense of expanders is 220 centimeters. It has just coincided with the design sizes based initially. In real life, this car seems even more rad. I hope I'll manage to make a fiberglass body according to this model. In order not to miss the following part, press the bell and subscribe on the channel if you are not signed yet. And that's all I got for today. Thanks everyone for your watching, support, reposts and comments. See ya in the following video in a little while.